Welcome back to the Red Dice Diaries, and in this playlist I'm going to be reviewing the Advanced Fighting Fantasy system re-released by Arion Games. Now I wanted to make this short video to preface it, just to explain a little bit about my history with Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Now the system as it was holds a special place in my heart because it was the first fantasy role-playing system that I read. Not the first that I ran. That dubious honour goes to Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. However, it was the first of what I consider to be a real role-playing game that I ever read. And it was the first line that made me actively excited about the notion of creating and exploring a fantasy world within the imagination. Advanced Fighting Fantasy, for those who aren't aware, developed out of the popular Fighting Fantasy line, a series of books that I avidly devoured in the 80s that allowed you to participate in a solo, choose-your-own-adventure style of game. The first book that I read in the Fighting Fantasy series was Starship Traveller, a book that belonged to my father, who's an avid science fiction fan, followed by City of Thieves, and soon moving on to others. Starship Traveller was great, but it was City of Thieves with its vision of a fantasy world and the corrupt city of Blacksand, ruled over by Lord Azure and trod beneath the boot of his black-clad city guard, and the town of Silverton that suffered under the yoke of the evil lich/necromancer Zambar Bone that really captured my youthful imagination. Indeed, I was so vocal about my love of this book over the years that my lovely wife, when she saw this copy of it in a local charity shop, she picked it up for me recently. After devouring as many books in the Fighting Fantasy series as I could, mainly down at my local library, and various other such series such as Lone Wolf, I then discovered a book called The Riddling Reaver, written by Paul Mason. And it was the first book I'd encountered that extended this whole choose your own adventure style of book into what we would recognize today as a full, albeit simple, role-playing system. And I was instantly hooked on it. Later, when the Advanced Fighting Fantasy books were released that pushed this role-playing and cooperative element even further, I snapped them all up, and I still have my original, although now slightly battered copies here of Dungeoneer, Titan, Out of the Pit, the original Blacksand, and Alanzia, and they're very much treasured possessions of mine. Now, the enthusiasm of my fellow YouTuber, The Rogue DM, and her recommendations spurred me on to purchase the revised version of the game released by Arion Games, and I've not been disappointed. You can see more of her views on it on the Rogue DM's channel there, and I'm also currently playing in an Advanced Fighting Fantasy game that's run by the Rogue DM herself that is very much entertaining. There are links to actual plays of the sessions on my site. You can see them by clicking there. Over the next week or so, and adding to this playlist, I'm going to be reviewing the re-release / upgraded versions of the Advanced Fighting Fantasy books by Arion Games. And although Advanced Fighting Fantasy holds a special place in my heart, I intend to try and review the system warts and all and give you an informed and detailed look at whether these books are worth purchasing, and hopefully allow you to make up your own mind about whether you might be interested in dipping into the magical world of Titan yourself. I hope you find the reviews useful, and I look forward to hearing what you think of the videos that I'm going to be posting. Until I see you all next time, thank you very much for listening, and take care.